I want to share a new tool that I recently created. It seems like every time I go to a new account, the first thing that we figure out is that they're understaffed. I mean, that seems to be the common thread among all the accounts that I visited. And frequently, the first question they have is like, how much does it cost to hire someone? What's the investment to bring on a new employee? And so I would get an Excel and I would just kind of create a down and dirty spreadsheet that wasn't pretty, and I would figure out what that number was and just tell them the number, then close the spreadsheet without saving it and move on. And I did this pretty much in every salon. I mean, it's always been a conversation. But then what I noticed is that every time it's time to hire a new person, the question comes up again, how much does it cost? So just telling the salon owner the number hasn't really worked for me. And I got tired of creating the same spreadsheet over and over again. So I sat down the other day and I created one that can be used over and over and can be given to an account. So as you can see, this one has the logo of my salon and my salon's name down here. So it's personalized. And I like now to personalize this for every salon that I go to. So as I go to an account, I pop their logo in it. I change their name at the bottom. I explain how it works, and I give them a copy for themselves. Okay, so in this spreadsheet, there's three things that I want you to edit. You'll see that there are three fields that have gray backgrounds. These three fields are fields that you're always going to edit. And there's one additional field of product cost that you probably want to edit. So I didn't make it gray, but maybe I should. All right, so the first one is hourly wage. I have this one set up for $8.50 and set that for whatever you need. And then I have this one scheduled for 32 hours a week. And when I multiply those two numbers together, I get $272. So $272 is my weekly pay for this service provider working full time. Now, I'll come back to this in detail in a minute, but I just want you to know that this is a great tool also for when you have associates that only have 1 6-hour shift and figuring out if they've earned the right financially to add that next shift. But we'll come back to that. So I'm at $272 a week, and then I come down and I add payroll taxes. Now payroll taxes are 6.75%. That's Social Security and Medicare. And it's the same no matter what state you're in. That's a federal fee company paid. So you don't need to edit this unless they change those rates, which probably isn't going to happen anytime soon. The next thing I have is product cost, and I have that set at 9% in this example. Now, if you have a brand new account, you may or may not have financials to know what their actual product cost is. And this is back bar product cost. But if you do, then definitely go in and edit this formula. I have it set at 0.9. Just change the 0.9 to 0.7 or 0.8 or, God forbid, 14%, whatever it is. And this will give us the correct product cost. Now, I want to stop here and just tell you that they could get paid $272 this week in hourly pay, and we would have to cover their $20.81 in payroll taxes. But it's possible they would do zero services, unlikely, but possible, and they would have zero product costs. All I'm saying is it could be less than this, and it could be a little bit more, but this is a really good rule of thumb to use, that it's going to be about $25 or $24.48 in this week, which gives us a total weekly cost of $317.29. The next thing I did is I took this weekly cost and I multiplied it by 4.333. Now, this is a very important number to know, a very important calculation to know, because so many salon owners think there are 4 weeks in a month. And of course, if you take the 4 weeks they believe are in a month and multiply them by 12 months, you come up with the magical 48 weeks a year number, which is really bad math. And so lots of mistakes are made just by not knowing how many weeks are in a month. If they can't remember this, just explain to them. It's like, so remember, there are 52 weeks in a year. So divide that by the 12 months there are, and that will give you your answer of 4.333. So when I do that, I come up with the number of $1374.81, and this is the exact cost of this new employee or this employee. So you can take this number and say, okay, this is actually how much this person has to do in services, does not include retail, but in services to break even. Of course, if they do $1,000 in a month, you know you're still investing $374. But this, in fact, is the break-even number. Even though I have break-even down here as a word, this is how much they have to do in services to break even. The next part of the spreadsheet is kind of interesting. The next field that you would fill out would be their commission percentage. And in this case, I have 47%. And here's what it means. In order to cover $1,374 in payroll and cost at 47%, they would need to do 29, 25, 13 in service sales to exactly cover that cost. Okay, so this is the break-even in services, and this is the break-even in that you're paying them. Now, the other thing this can be used for, if you think about it, it's like if somebody says, or maybe you want to know, how much they have to do to make commission. So you can turn this around, and the answer, of course, is they have to do 2 cents more or $1 more, however you want to talk about it, than this number in a month to actually make more on commission than they made on their hourly wage. So I love that it's a tool for that. So let's go back to the associate. You know, I've heard that, you know, and I've taught that in a salon, if your associate has a new talent day and they get 3 guests a week, then it's safe to say that it's time to move on. And the truth is, you know, as most of you know, I'm not a rounder. That is sort of true, but it totally depends on what their average ticket is. So in other words, I'll just say this. If you were to change this hours per week to 6, you would see how many dollars they have to do a month. Now, because I use Envision, I drop down to that number pretty quick as an owner, and I look at that number. So in my opinion, if they hit that number, they're ready for the next day. And I played with some different scenarios where there were different average tickets, and that number ranged, or the average ticket ranged anywhere. No, I take that back. The number of guests they needed to see per day or per week, as you would have it, ranged pretty wildly between 2.1 and 3.5. Which in a month's time is a big difference in guests. So depending on their average ticket, that might change. So what I can tell you is, instead of figuring it that way, you can use this as a tool just to absolutely know instantly, are they doing enough to cover themselves, and can we move on? Okay, that pretty much completes everything I had to talk about for this. I will do some updates and make some changes to it as time goes on, as I usually do, but I wanted you to have this tool in case it was something that you felt you could use in your accounts. Thank you.